Autophiles, Subhash here with the Honda Civic facelift, and this is my likes and dislikes for this new facelift model. I have with me here the Petrol 1.5 litre RS. So earlier in 2025, Honda Malaysia launched the Honda Civic facelift. They launched 4 variants of this. So same as before, you have the 1.5 litre petrol models with a turbocharged engine, and you also have 2 litre hybrid model right at the top. This is the top spec petrol one called the 1.5 RS. So it has an RS body kit. You can see the black spoiler, chrome tail pipes over there, black rims. You have a few black out accessories like the door handles, the wing mirrors. That's how you tell if it's an RS or not. The RS model is basically now updated in very minor ways. The back basically looks the same. The facelift brings like this smoked tail lamp section over here. The front bumper also has different styling, a little bit more aggressive looking. And if I'm not mistaken, the rims are now 1 inch larger. The ADAS system now has bicycle detection and I think improved detection for other objects as well. And inside, you get a wireless charging pad to complement wireless Apple CarPlay, and the new feature is now wireless Android Auto as well. And the RS model comes with suede seats, alloy pedals, just make the cabin look a little bit nicer. So let's start with my first like, and that is the way it drives. I think the Civic in this generation and in the previous generation is the last affordable sports sedan, if you really think about it. You know, in previous years, the base model 3 Series touching 200,000, you could argue that that was an affordable sports sedan. But besides that, there was nothing else. And then the moment the previous generation Civic came in with the Ketam lights, suddenly Malaysians had access to that sports sedan feel. So the previous Civic started the trend, and in this generation, all the engines are 1.5 turbo, so they all have that little light sports sedan feel, which, you know, I really appreciate. I don't think anyone else is capable of delivering this kind of feel, any other brand, at this price. So what I like is that they continue the tradition of offering a viable sports sedan option. Of course, the Mazda 3 is out there as well, but I feel like the Mazda 3 doesn't quite hit the mark in terms of mass market appeal because of the lack of a turbo, the pricing. Space also is a little bit tighter in the Mazda 3. So even though this has the footprint of a C segment sedan, it is actually much lower to the ground than a majority of cars out there. The effect of that is that it doesn't really have to be that fast. Like this car, I didn't take it that fast, but when I took it to slightly illegal speeds, it already felt so fast because you're so low to the ground. It feels like you're on a carpet just gliding over the roads at very high speed, even though you're going like maybe just over 110. It's a very interesting and engaging feel, and this is what the Civic was very, very famous for in the 90s. Not being super fast in all cases unless you had the right engine, but even with the regular 1.5 carbureted or fuel injected engines, the D series and all that, even with the basic engines, a Civic always felt fast because it was so low to the ground and because the suspension was so naturally and reactively tuned. That takes me to my dislike, and you'll notice that going over these bumps, the car is not particularly comfortable, and especially in this driver's seat. I'm sure in the other seats as well. I haven't sat in the other seats while driving, obviously, but the driver's seat, the lumbar support is not there. The cushioning of the seat also is a little bit inadequate. The amount of padding, the amount of lumbar support is very, very low, and there's in fact no lumbar adjustment at all. At this price point, it becomes a concern. At the lower specs I can understand, but once you get to the RS spec and the pricing is touching like 150, that area, then I think it should be included. And the other thing is that, you know, this generation, they try to make the car look a bit more mature for a slightly more aging crowd, people in their late 30s going to 40s. I think this crowd is the crowd that starts to develop back pains, back aches, and to not offer a comfortable, reasonably comfortable and supportive seat to this crowd, I think is a mistake. So I dislike that. So in the same vein, under performance, I like that it's low slung and it has enough power to make it feel like a light sports sedan. They've kept that up, but I dislike that they've just completely neglected the comfort aspect of this car. And in that vein, I should talk about my next like. So the Civic continues to offer you a lot of things that some of the other brands might not even think is a problem. Like this thing here, if you're a passenger, you can lock and unlock all doors with your own control. That's been around for more than a generation now. The steering, materials and feel, still excellent as always. Well padded, nice material. This part feels a little bit old school, but it's not a big problem. Down here they've updated it with USB-C. This was not necessary, but it's really great that they did this. It makes it feel a lot more modern. And finally we have the wireless charging pad to go along with wireless Apple CarPlay. Really completes the package. This was a pretty major complaint that it didn't have wireless charging, even though it had wireless Apple CarPlay in the pre-facelift. Now that they sorted it out, I got no complaints with the infotainment setup. And I think the screen is a little bit larger as well. It also has now Google built in. I'm not so sure what the use case for this software update is, but we will get into this in my dislike. Besides that, everything else looks very, very familiar. Honda Sensing has a little bit more functionality now. We have Honda Connect telematic system. I believe it is now, not to say standard, but it is featured in more of the variants. If I'm not mistaken, it's free for a few years. After that, you have to pay. Honda paid attention to some of the things that other manufacturers would probably ignore, like Google built-in. This is the first Japanese car to have it. USB-C all around. Pretty rare in Japanese cars. That also leads me to my dislike. And my dislike is that some of these features that were added don't really add value. Google built-in for a petrol car, I don't think it adds value. I've seen this on Volvos. Volvo was the first brand to integrate Google built-in, and it makes sense because a lot of Volvos are plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and some of them are electric vehicles. So having Google built-in in your Volvo makes sense, because when you go to Google Maps, the car will tell you, it'll tell this system, hey, I have 50% battery left. When you go to this location on Google Maps, I can give you an estimation of how much battery I will have left when I arrive at that location, and I can even give you an estimation of how much battery I'll have left when you come back to where you're starting from. On this, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, the internet is not set up on this test car yet. I think this is the first test car to roll out, so maybe they haven't configured that yet. But yeah, the point is, I don't see what is the point of Google built-in on a petrol car. What are you adding in terms of value, especially if you already have wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto? What can you do here on Google built-in that you cannot already do here in a more mature interface that works with your smartphone? So yeah, I don't really get it. I don't think it adds that much value. And if you think about it, there are so many technological features and aspects that really could have added value, and the most basic one is this. When you go into reverse, you still get a potato webcam. Oh my god, look at the quality. It's terrible. And you also get lane watch, which on my test unit somehow doesn't work. But yeah, what is the point of lane watch and not having a 360-degree high quality camera, but then putting in Google built-in? I don't think it adds value at all. So those are my likes and dislikes for the Civic Turbo RS. I think there's enough changes to keep it a little bit relevant. There's no competition basically. You only have the Mazda 3 and this in this space. And I don't think the demand is that high for these kind of cars anymore. Everyone is going towards SUVs, and the people who are going to spend extra are going towards tax-free EVs. So it's okay that they gave these updates. I just wish that they focused more on the features that added value, like a seat that had more support, lumbar support functionality, and also maybe omitting this whole Google built-in push and instead focusing on better cameras. A 360 camera on this model was very, very overdue in the last generation, and now it's already like they're just pushing it. They're seeing how long they can go without offering it. And I think on the CR-V high spec and also on the high spec hybrid, they already have it. So it's really a kind of tiering of the specifications that feels a little bit unnatural, and yeah, they could have been more graceful and nicer with their packaging on this RS petrol version.